Well, that part's very important to know. And, even when I see things, sometimes I don't know exactly what it is. And just to not have my mind try to jump on it and define it. Because in one way, by defining it, it's small. And this is just really big and, infinite. So that's a very important part of the process. Yeah. That is a good question. So generally, our higher self is kind of located right above our head. But the first way we connect to it is in our heart. So you can start to imagine energy in your heart center and allow it to expand. Okay? And then just with intention, there's this kind of light thing, like a ball. The high self a lot looks like kind of a ball of light, or it might look kind of like us, but kind of light. And you can just use your intuition. So, like when you see someone that you don't know and you feel a connection with them, a lot of times it's your high self seeing their high self, and you just feel like you want to connect with them. The work is really done with intention, and we kind of use our imagination, but to differentiate between our imagination and this part, we call it our creative imagination. So we're creating things. Okay, so some people in the audience are starting to do that. So you can imagine your high self as being like a spiritual master, and that will help you connect to that also. Part of the answer to the question is there are different things we connect to. There is our high self. We do have like an inner master, and there are masters and angels and saints, all things like that all around us. In one way, it doesn't matter exactly what we're connecting to. We want to trust that the thing that we need at that time is going to come forward. So a lot of times, there are just thousands of these things there. So you want to have your intention for the highest good and what can serve you at this moment. So when I'm working on people, I don't really connect to my high self very much. Although as I'm saying that, there's sometimes I hear this voice tell me something, and I don't know what the voice is. I've just learned to really trust it. I'm wondering. So there are saints, like Jesus is a very powerful thing. Buddha, there are one of the healing masters that work with me a lot is Imhotep, who was an ancient Egyptian, considered the first medical doctor in Egypt, but he comes in there. So there's all sorts of different healing beings around, and you want to kind of be open to what can serve you the best at that time. Well, we cannot be on the wrong path, but there are different choices of what the right path is. So I just think of a funny story of someone gambling and getting information on what to gamble on, like in a casino, and winning a little bit of money here and there and here and there, and then betting all the money and losing it. And so like a voice telling them. So you want to, on the things on the practical level, you still want to check it out. For me, when I'm looking for information with people, I'm looking for an energy shift to happen. I'm looking for either a healing on some level, whether it's emotional, physical, or even spiritual, that there's a certain alignment that happens. So when it's information, that would indicate it's right information, and it doesn't necessarily, it could be 2 + 2 = 3, and then the person just lights up and their pain goes away in their body. So that part of healing something, that's the purpose of what the information I look for. Our high self does communicate to our basic self a little more easily in a certain way than our conscious mind is always trying to make sense of things, which basically means as soon as it gets any information, it tries to compare it to things we've experienced before, and then that's not always it. So the trick is leave your mind back, and when the information's here, it's like, well, you don't have it yet. Even though our mind, oh, I see that, it means this, this, this. No, you keep letting it and letting it and letting it, letting it, even like past your eye into the center of your head, and then it's like, the information's just like a bright light, or it might not be concrete information like we have. The other thing is a lot of times the information is more in a general direction, and it is not like, people ask me questions all the time about the future, and I'm kind of reluctant to tell them, even though a lot of times I see that, partially because there's a % chance of what it would be, plus it starts to influence people's choices and does not allow them to unfold in that way. So the person who asked me started to connect to their high self in there somewhere, so that part. So even the way I talk is kind of vague, but there's the part that lines up inside. If we have too much, if it's, A, B, C, then you're going to want to, but there's an experience that goes with that. You're going to want to go A, B, C again, and you might not be honoring the experience. So that part of the experience, the part of feeling expansive, the part of feeling joy, and that part is really the priority.